what's up? My name is John Bonjour. I'm a comic artist and film enthusiast, and I have a huge news scoop for you. Spider-Man will be in Kraven the Hunter. I think it's Kraven the Hunter. It might just be Kraven. Spider-Man will be in the Kraven movie in December. I'm pretty sure. I'm fully theorizing about this. Not really a scoop. I think I've lied to you. So if you've been with me long enough, I think I probably know what you're thinking, which is, John, didn't you say that about Venom? Didn't you pretty clearly say that that was going to be true in Venom: The Last Dance? Official theory. Spider-Man is going to be in Venom 3. I did, but this time I'm fairly sure that I'm right. I am broadening the scope a little bit of my theory here because Spider-Man being in Kraven, who knows? I think that Kraven the Hunter, I think Kraven will be the movie where we see the future of the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. That's what Called Shots is for. Honestly, this is a series where I just make random, wild accusations toward the general direction of an idea, and sometimes it's true. Eventually, I'm sure that it will be. In this video, I'll be discussing points in favor of my idea, points against, and how they might do it if they chose to do so. So let's dive right in. The first thing, the most important thing, the reason that I am pretty confident about this one, that we are going to get some kind of look at what the future of this spunk is we have no idea. We have no concept. Kraven is the last official movie that they're actually doing. They've talked about Hypno Hustler with Donald Glover. That's never going to happen. They've talked about El Muerto with Bad Bunny. Also never going to happen for a number of reasons. The main reason, I think, for both of those not happening, it's a bad idea, and you shouldn't do it. But the problem with that argument that these just are stupid and don't work is, yes, it's true, but also, that's what people said about Agatha, and that ended up being pretty good. It's the same thing people said that about Guardians, people said that about Ant-Man. There's an argument to be made for you don't have to make just movies based on characters that people already know they want to see movies about. You can make really good stories about characters that people don't know they love yet. The problem is you also have to make really good stories and really good movies and things that are worth watching and don't involve Jared Leto. That's a rule of mine. I don't think you can involve Jared Leto in a thing that you want to be successful or good, mostly. Yeah, we have no idea where the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters is going from here. Venom's done. Officially, they've said, hey, this is the last one. And who knows, they could always do like a Friday the 13th thing and have him come back, but hypothetically, they ended on a note that they seem happy with. Morbius certainly isn't getting a sequel. It doesn't seem like we're getting more Madam Web anytime soon. Kraven, I don't think is going to be particularly successful. I think that there's a reason that they've pushed it back 5 times, which is so many times to push a movie back. There have also been talks of major reshoots, which are not inherently a bad thing, but not necessarily a great sign, especially when some of the things coming out of the original test screenings are, it's bad, don't watch it, add more to this. But if they do want to keep doing this, and it seems like they do, they're gonna have to announce some projects at some point. Like, they have to do it to do it. To do things, you have to do things. That's what I've learned. Now, I do want to say real quick, they're not morons, hypothetically. So I assume that there is some reason that they can't use Spider-Man. There has to be something in their contract that would say, hey, you're not allowed to use Peter Parker or Spider-Man, or maybe even just Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The executives at Sony have to understand that this isn't working. There's no way they look at the returns on all of these movies and go, yep, good, that's what we were going for. They almost put Spider-Man in Madam Web. There's a bunch of concept art out there for having Tom Holland's Spider-Man show up in Madam Web, which is extremely confusing to me, but we can just worry about that later. And as far as their marketing goes, if we give them the benefit of the doubt, they've clearly tried to do Spider-Man related things and it just hasn't worked. For some reason, it's always gotten cut out right at the end. Now, the positive, understanding, more Christian side of me would say that that's just because they had a contract and they tried to go as far as they could, and Marvel said, no, you can't connect it to your Spider-Man, we have to keep those separate, and they went, okay, all right, and they Charlie Browned away and cut all that stuff. The more pessimistic side of me would suggest that maybe they just wanted to make more money and understand that putting Spider-Man in a thing would give them more money, so even if they can't, they'll market it as if Spider-Man is involved in this. I don't know that to be true. I would like to believe the former, but I am more inclined to believe the latter. All that said, Kraven is their final theatrical shot to say, hey guys, here's what we're doing if you really liked the idea of what we were doing. Granted, they sort of tried to do that in Venom with Null, and everyone went, no good. Don't do that. So it's entirely possible that they were making Venom 3 and they thought, this is gonna be it. Null is the next big thing. Put him in there and we'll tease the rest of our spunk. I hope not, because that did not work at all. And if Sony's good at anything, they're good at thinking that we should pivot. They're not good at pivoting, but they're good at deciding to pivot. They've been very reactionary up to this point. It would not surprise me if we found out that there was a version of Venom that was supposed to include a Spider-Man eventually later on down the line. There's probably concept art for that already leaking, I would guess, based on just how fast it happened with Madam Web. But who knows? Maybe not. The point is, I think they want to include Spider-Man, and I think they know that Spider-Man is popular, and what they're doing is not working. Or at least, again, hypothetically, because they're not morons, they have to know that. Now, there are some points against my theory of Spider-Man showing up in Kraven the Hunter. Most notably, this is beginning to feel quite a bit like that time that I told all my friends and family, no, you should definitely go see The Flash because this DC universe is ending and they're starting a new one, and there's no way with all that controversy they would finish and release this movie if it didn't matter and was kind of bland and lifeless and soulless and inconsequential. No way would they do that. And yeah, I really don't know that they'll make the move that I and most of us would consider to be the smart move. Because like I said, hypothetically they're not morons, but in practice, well, I also think a point possibly in favor and possibly against is that Kraven is the first movie since Venom 1 to not be marketed in a, ooh, maybe we're gonna have Spider-Man kind of way. Is the first in this bump to not have some trailer where you see like a spider web and Kraven looks at it and he's like, I hate spiders. There's one in the first trailer where there's a bunch of spiders crawling down and they all crawl over Kraven, which you could argue is that, but I think that's us reading into it. It is a pretty classic image of Kraven, so maybe that's just what they were going for. I think that that's entirely possible. It's kind of funny to me because that's sort of in context with Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure. And so the idea of him just being like in a jungle with a bunch of spiders and being like, this seems right, this seems like where I should be, is pretty funny to me. Don't know if that means that they're confident enough in this movie and possibly the Spider-Man tease toward the end of the movie that they think, oh no, they'll just come out because it's Kraven and it's gonna get hugely good reviews. Or they finally learned that that didn't give them more money and also people get mad when they do that, so we probably shouldn't do that. Just ignore that this is a Spider-Man thing at all. It's possible, I don't know. It's also, I suppose it's possible that Russell Crowe is Spider-Man in this, which would be hilarious. While I'm thinking about that, I'd like to take a word from our sponsors, you and me. I'm the sponsor and you're the sponsor. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/JohnBonjour. If you enjoy these videos and you have some extra cash, I could really use your support. Making all of this is not easy, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of work, and I do want it to be my job. So I would really appreciate your support. You can go as low as $1 a month. If you have that, please, head on over to patreon.com/JohnBonjour. Otherwise, I do these YouTube videos. Obviously, you're here on YouTube, you know this. I have a free comic book on my website, johnbonart.com. It is called Edge of Bordertown. Chapter 4 is wrapping up very soon, and Chapter 5 is on its way. It's so good. I'm so proud of it. I really would appreciate it if you read that. And like I said, it's free, so the only thing you're losing is time, possibly, arguably, much more valuable than money. So I don't know why I'm arguing against myself. Please read my comic book. Now, the final and most obvious point against my theory is that it would require even an ounce of forethought. That has not traditionally been their strong suit. Case in point, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a great movie, paired with a really bad movie and kind of a weird, mediocre cartoon movie, all mushed together. Also, there was that leak of all the emails from Sony where they pitched things like an Aunt May movie where she's a spy. Classic Aunt May. The point being, they had worse things in the pipeline than Madam Web and Morbius, and that shocks me to my core. So they're not known for making good decisions. And so yes, does it seem obvious to me that you would put Spider-Man at the end of Kraven so that there would be something, anything to hold on to going forward in this universe? Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it makes sense to all of us. It's also the thing we've been saying from the beginning, sort of. Since Venom 1 came out, we went, yeah, Venom's cool. Can we get Spider-Man in that? And, well, look how that turned out. Couple of ways I think it could work. First option, just go the Morbius end credits route. Have Michael Keaton's Vulture and Morbius show up, meet Kraven, hand him a poorly printed out JPEG of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and say, we're thinking of planning something sinister. 6. It would be a way to end it that would be incredibly dumb and probably exactly what they have planned. If they do a Spider-Man tease at the end of this, it's probably going to be something like that, which is dumb. It's clear that they still want to do that Sinister Six movie. I think that this is probably what their next step is. That would be my guess. I don't know where they're getting the money for that, but it does seem like that's what they're going to do. Which is funny because it's like, hypothetically, you could argue that their plan was to make all these villain movies and collect them into a Sinister Six movie a la the Avengers. The problem is, A, they didn't make good movies, so that's already out, and B, there's only 3 of them, really, because Madam Web wouldn't be in the Sinister Six, obviously, because she's like a good person, and so are all her best friends and family. Now you'll be left with Morbius, Kraven, and in theory, Venom, although spoilers for The Last Dance, Venom's kind of dead right now. So technically you really only have the 2, and even if Venom was alive, he's kind of a good guy. So like a Sinister 2 is nothing. So I would love to see them announce that, because it would be hilarious to me if they just apropos of nothing were like, we're doing Sinister 6, and we were like, with who? And they're like, we'll worry about that later. It's possible that this movie ends with Null, or a Xenophage, or possibly some other symbiote coming to Kraven the Hunter and being like, hey, we gotta recruit you, we're gonna take down Spider-Man. And he'll obviously be like, who and what is a Spider-Man? But they'll just have to be like, don't worry about it, we're going to pull you to another universe. That's what I assume would be happening, is Noel would be recruiting some bad people to fight Spider-Man. It's also possible that Spider-Man would be recruiting some medium bad to medium good people to fight Null. I don't think that's it. Maybe Venom would come in and try to recruit him. The point is, it could be a tease for King in Black. I'm inclined to not really believe the rumors that King in Black is going to be the next Spider-Man movie. A, because Venom didn't make very much money, and B, because Marvel, I think, has more control over Spider-Man than that. So at this point, it's a pretty gray area, but that is a possibility for how this movie ends. The last possibility is that they could go the Venom 1 end credits route, where that just had a scene from Into the Spider-Verse to say, hey, here's something we're doing next, look forward to this, enjoy it. It is entirely possible. The things that it could be are pretty limited, because as far as I know, the only 2 options are the Nicolas Cage Spider-Man Noir show and Beyond the Spider-Verse, which I don't know if they've really started doing anything for Beyond the Spider-Verse, and it would be hilarious if they put a tease for Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir at the end of Kraven the Hunter. There's a part of my meme appreciating brain that would just absolutely lose it if we did get Spider-Man in Kraven the Hunter and it was Nicolas Cage. I don't know what this is going to be. I'm looking forward to Kraven. I can't wait. Not because I think it's going to be good, but just because I love these movies. I love each and every one of them because they're just, it's like if your best friend has like a super, super wicked ugly kid and you have to be like, oh buddy, he's so cute. Like a yearly train wreck that I get to watch. That's pretty fun for me. I also do a podcast about bad movies with my best friends. It's called Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour, if you want to go check it out. And yeah, we're seeing Kraven for sure for that podcast. No question in my mind. I hope they don't stop this universe ever, but just because it makes me happy and I think that they're extremely dumb. So yeah, there's my theory. I think that we're going to get some kind of hint on what's coming. I would not be, well, I'd be surprised, obviously, but I wouldn't be totally blown away if we got some Spider-Man at the end of Kraven. I would be blown away. The one option I didn't even slightly consider is that they actually have Spider-Man show up. No way. There's no chance. They're not putting that much more money into Kraven the Hunter. It could be like a web shoots past him or something like that, but there's no chance in hell that it's like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield are just going to show up and be like, Kraven, we need to talk. Not a chance, but I'm so looking forward to whatever it is that they do. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, movies that I wish were happening, things I wish they would do in movies, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or do none of that because I am not your dad. So